Mark, what was your reaction as a, I was going to say neutral, but I guess you kind of are involved, right? Everton would have been in and around the same position as you in the league without the point deduction at the moment.
Mm.
What's your reaction as a Forest fan, first and foremost?
Um, well, I mean, I was shocked at the scale of it, for sure. And it does make beg the question: if it had been a top six side, would it have been the same? First thing I thought was, are we going that way as well? I mean, we've hardly been shy when it comes to the transfer market last couple of seasons, and I know the Brennan sale probably had a lot to do with the FFP situation. Um, yeah, I mean, I look at it and think I didn't think Everton would be in the bottom three anyway. So I don't look at it and think, well, they were going anyway. I guess I look at it and think that's Everton have got enough to fight their way out of it, given that I do still think there's a gap between the promoted sides and the likes of us and Everton. I think Everton will still be all right, but it in the short term, I thought, well, we're playing Everton in a couple of weeks. I don't like that because they're going to come now with that, that fighting spirit that they've shown all anyway, but especially away from home this season, it's going to be amplified now, and it's going to be a very difficult game. So my immediate reaction was, Everton are okay. I think they'll get themselves out of it anyway. And I'm not looking forward to the City ground encounter now because I think they're going to come with an even more determination to get 3 points off us, which I think is entirely possible.
You take any solace in that, Sean? I know it's tough to stomach at the moment, but the fact that basically any other year you would have been in huge trouble, and you're obviously in trouble now anyway. You've got a chance though, haven't you? If I said this on one of the pods we did last week, that if we'd have heard in pre-season, you'd have had the deduction, we'd have all gone, oh, they're dead already. It doesn't feel that way now.
Well, I mean, I sort of I disagree. I keep hearing people, sort of saying that, well, it's okay because they're still going to stay up. I think I'd probably say the same thing if if it wasn't my club and I didn't sort of know the ins and outs as well as I do. I think I'd probably look at it and be saying the same thing because we've been playing quite well recently and we were picking up points. But there's not much room. There's not much margin for error. We haven't got a big squad. When I look at Forest, Mark knows them far better than I do, but I see like all the signings that they've made. When I watch them or when they're missing few players, they seem to be able to cope with those those missing players better than we can. I think we've got a big drop off when, if we lose like the Doucouré's massive for us, obviously Calvert-Lewin's massive for us, Branthwaite's massive for us. But, kind of proved, the last couple of games when Onana's not there, Garner can't quite, perform at the same level. And I think all it takes is the games come thick and fast in December. We all know, from fantasy football, there's going to be a lot of game weeks coming up, and I think we'll struggle with the schedule. And there's a 5 point gap now, isn't there? And that's going to psychologically, play on the minds of the players and in these games. So as much as there's an increased fighting spirit and determination that sort of Mark, is sort of fearful of for the game next week. At the same time, we're not very good when we go a goal behind under Sean Dyche, and the sort of stats back that up. And I think there was a little bit of it today once Manchester United went 2-0 up. It was evident in the crowd, the last sort of 10 minutes. It emptied quite rapidly, the stadium. And so I do think that those 10 points, if the appeal doesn't come in, in the next few weeks, or it doesn't massively, reduce the 10 points, because I do think we'll potentially only get one or two back. I think it's going to be a real struggle now.
And no, of course it is. Of course it is. Listen, unfortunately, at the moment, you're on 4 points, and I agree with you. I think there's every chance you might get a point or two back. Is probably, I think, probably the best you're looking at. But either way, there's no doubt you're in trouble. I think the point that we're making is it wouldn't be you're in trouble. It'd be you're gone in most other seasons. Look at the points you've stayed up in the last few seasons, right? The 10 would have taken you over the edge. That's what we're saying. You've still got a chance. No one's saying, oh, I think Everton will be safe by January. No, unfortunately, Luton's win yesterday means there's a gap, right? And it needs chasing. And the concern for you is when I look at your home games, basically up till you play Palace in game week 25, and I know your home record has been a problem. Newcastle, Chelsea, Manchester City, Villa, Tottenham is your next 5 home games. That's rough, mate. There's a collection of 5 home games together. The flip of that, of course, is you go to Forest, you go to Burnley. There's the reverse with Tottenham, Wolves, Fulham. There's some winnable away games. And actually, ironically, it's where most of your points have been, Sean, right?
Yeah, yeah. The whole way of playing under dice seems to be tailored for playing away.
Why is that?
Well, he just seems to not be that interested in obviously keeping possession of the ball, and it's more about sort of attacking as quickly, getting them up the pitch as quickly as we can, and we haven't got the creative players to break teams down, and when teams get players behind the ball, that's where we tend to struggle. So I think he's just trying to get those transitions, increase the speed of them, and create some like similar to Brighton away was the perfect example of I think how he's trying to get us to play, and it's just geared for playing away from home, isn't it?